If what I'm about to tell you is true, the San Francisco 49ers have just caught a huge, massive break, and I can't wait to tell you about it in this video. If you're new here, I'm Nate. Hit that subscribe button if you're looking for daily 49ers content, but shout out to my guy, Night Shift Garage, who said this: I really agree that Dre Greenlaw is more valuable to the success of this team than what Deebo has shown in recent years. We can supplement the wide receiver position with the addition of Pearsall and the draft in later rounds. We will not find another Dre Greenlaw anytime soon. I think a DT that can push the middle and pass rush is a necessity as well. So he's commenting on the last video, or 2 days ago, and some of the conversation around that. And this is my point exactly. So congrats, Night Shift Garage. You and I are on the same page, it seems. And this is not to say that Deebo Samuel is not valuable. It's just to say that Dre Greenlaw is really important to this football team if he can stay healthy. That's a fair caveat somebody mentioned in the comments. Fair point as well. Now, let's get to that huge break. The break that the 49ers caught. If this is true, if Matt Mayoko's right, a couple days ago, Matt Mayoko said this: Dre Greenlaw will re-sign with the 49ers. His guess is that he would be coming back to the 49ers on probably a 1-year kind of prove-it deal to try and get his body right and then try and take another bite at the apple in free agency next year. And if you listen to his entire YouTube video on it, what Mayoko basically says is the reality for him is that he has hardly played any football this season, and he was carrying a little bit of injury before the Super Bowl last season. And so there's a fear for sure of what you're actually going to get out of this guy. The only organization in the National Football League who actually knows with confidence how well Dre Greenlaw is or how injured he is the San Francisco 49ers. Nobody else knows that. So he's going to go out there and see what he can get. But even like Matt Mayoko doesn't believe there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to be able to hit, that are going to be offering a number and have the confidence in him to offer a number that's going to put the 49ers out of contention. And if the 49ers are in contention and we're talking about the same number, he's probably going to stay with the 49ers. I agree with that. Of course I do. Who disagrees with Matt Mayoko, right? But I feel like it's a fair point. And if that's true, if he's right, this is a huge, huge break for the 49ers because I really do believe a healthy Greenlaw is on the way. And if he has a prove-it season this season, if Matt is right and he ends up having a prove-it season, that's fantastic setup for this upcoming season for the 49ers. By the way, the 49ers will have a league-leading $50 million in carryover cap space. I saw that one yesterday to start the 2025 season. So that's a good sign as well. Don't forget about the expanding cap and all that stuff. So what does that do for me? That gives me confidence as we start moving forward and thinking about what we're going to do this offseason. This post, by the way, while we're talking about cap space and we're going to be talking about free agency and drafts and all that good stuff, for me, says Ryan G. Hensley, defensive tackle is greater than defensive end for 49ers right now. Specifically, I believe talking about what we need to get, right? What we need to gain. Not saying defensive tackles are more important inherently than defensive ends, just saying right now that's what the 49ers need to focus on. Stopping the run has to be priority number one for every defense, and I love that take. And it always makes me feel better. I commented and I was like, it feels good when you have a take. I said it like 2 days ago in a video, and then somebody who I perceive to be smarter than me about football-related things, goes and says something that makes you feel good about yourself. But this sets up nicely with another post that Ryan posted, which could be the defensive tackle that he's thinking about, which would be Tyleik Williams out of Ohio State, 6'3", 327, runs a 4.68, and a 10-yard split of 1.62. Okay, I'm all ears. I'm opening up. I'm listening. And I think it's an important thing for us to consider. One other thing that happened earlier this week that we just didn't get to talk about was what Greg Cosell said about Ricky Pearsall on Wednesday on 95.7 The Game with Willard and Dibbs, as he does every single week during the NFL season. He said this about Ricky Pearsall. I think Ricky Pearsall is going to be a really, really good wide receiver. Just like Amon-Ra St. Brown is not a true boundary X, but he's a really good receiver. He talked even about, having your player, having a player like Amon-Ra St. Brown, who, how did he call him? Like, he didn't say system wide receiver, but it was similar to like the system quarterback thing that like, ooh, Brock Purdy's just a system quarterback. We've heard that a million times, that kind of thing. And I think it's a good point to think about. Like, I think he did say system wide receiver or something like that. I don't know. If you listen to it, let me know in the comments. But the point is, Ricky Pearsall, if he can be like an Amon-Ra St. Brown in terms of value for this team, that's huge. And when we get Brandon Aiyuk back, if he can hit his levels, his pre-injury levels, that would be massive as well. His 2023 levels would be a game changer. And then we are still going to have Deebo Samuel. That's the commitment anyway. So we'll wait and see if the action lines up with the language. But I think that we're going to have Deebo Samuel here another year. That's my gut based on, what they said, based on the numbers. It just makes sense to me. So I think we still have every reason to believe this is still going to be a significant offense. Add that CMC. You'd like to think, knock on wood, he's going to at least be better than he was this season in terms of health. I can't imagine he's as bad. But anyway, I can't imagine. So I'm going to shut up. I'm not going to say it. The point is, I think that this is going to be a really good situation for the offense. We're going to see a much better season no matter what. Then you have Kyle Shanahan, who's going to be doing all this scheming in the offseason to try and figure out how to fix the problems that he dealt with this season. I think there's so much looking up. And, of course, Ricky Pearsall, who's just now finding his form. And honestly, I'm impressed. Like, I heard several people talking about Ricky Pearsall. As John Lynch talked about it, actually, Pearsall and his attitude and his work ethic at the end of the season. And these guys have played so many games. It's just not typical to be able to play this many games in their NFL season after doing the combine, after having a college football season and all that. And they're not used to having a season this long, and they managed to go through all of it. And Ricky Pearsall was like just raring to go. Granted, he was out for several weeks, so I suppose maybe that's not the same for him as it is for some of the other rookies, but whatever the case, I digress. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about these few things. So number one, the huge break, okay? We have Dre Greenlaw, who Matt Miyoko believes is going to be with the 49ers. I think that would be massive. Like, I almost as important as any other position, not as important, but almost as important as any other position we're working on and trying to maintain this season. We saw what happened when the 49ers went out there and couldn't get who they wanted and had to settle for Devondre Campbell, right? Number two, defensive tackle versus defensive end in the draft and where you're at on that. I did a post on that, so I'd be interested in join that poll and comment there. And then number three, how important is Ricky Pearsall going to be? Does he have Amon-Ra St. Brown levels in his near future? I look forward to seeing what you have to say in the comments. As always, appreciate you and I hope you have a fantastic Saturday.